All right, guys, let's get rolling. We have 118 thus far in this session. Thank you for making it through to the end of the day. The end of the day being noon here on our Friday. And thank you for dedicating your time for really the benefit of our military veterans who are attending our schools in California. This has been a tremendous session so far. Please do use the chat as you have questions, or you can raise your hand along the way when we get to those portions. In this session, we're really just doing a wrap up. We're saying, okay, what are some things you've learned? How can you establish your team for CPL if you haven't yet on your campus? And how do you really get the ball rolling? Now you've done the training. You have 2 to 5 of your faculty or of your employees at your college that have been engaged. Now, how do we take those next steps? So, Weston, I'm going to hand it over to you for the next slide.
Okay, so I have created a little platform where we can collaboratively share thoughts and have kind of a discussion post forum type thing. So I'm going to put it's a Padlet. I'm not sure how many of you have used it before, but it is pretty widely used in schools. So I'm going to put the link to the Padlet in the chat. Let me know if there are any errors, technology errors. I know that that's always something that we have to be cautious of, like if it brings you to a really funky link. But there are 3 questions I'll share with you. I'll pull it over so you guys can see. First, is there anything else that you would like to share or ask regarding military CPL? The next question is, what next step? You don't have to answer all of these or any of them if you don't want to. You can just be a participant just by watching, but it'd be great if we had a conversation for the next couple minutes. What steps in MilCPL will you commit to before the end of the fall 2021 semester? How do you see this happening at your institution? And then biggest takeaways, lessons learned from today, maybe some insight that you weren't super aware of before or would like to share, just thoughts of your own or maybe your own experiences. I was at a conference yesterday and I had a couple mothers coming up to me saying, my son's in the military and we want to get his credits. So anything like that, just that will push this conversation forward, that comes to mind, we would love to see it. And I'm thinking now, Terrence, if we want to, should we leave this up and then revisit it to give people kind of a chance to go through and type in their ideas, or do we have moments for this?
Yeah, please start tossing in your thoughts. Really, we want to hear from you, and we will be doing a survey as well at the end. But we want to hear from you. What are you taking away from this? Are you gaining from this training? And if there's some gaps or things, we want to fix this for the next summit, MilCPL summit. So please share. Weston, yeah, if you can keep the Padlet. I'm going to say it wrong. Padlet, keep the Padlet up, not on the view screen, but keep it up as we go through the rest of the presentation, so folks can share their thoughts. We only have 20 minutes here, so we really want to pull from you and hear from your experiences. Next slide.
Sorry, real quick. I'm putting the link again into the chat in case you were not here for that. So link to the Padlet in the chat.
Perfect. And is this Eric or me?
I can go ahead and talk about that.
All right.
So building your college MilCPL team, who should you include on your team? These are some of the players that we believe that should be included in your team. Obviously, the counselors are the ones that are going to be meeting with the students, letting them know of the pros and cons of CPL. It's important the counselors are aware of the CPL limitations as well. Articulation officers are huge as well. Reason being is because articulation officers are the ones giving us the green light of, at least at Norco College, Riverside Community College District, of what is approved or not approved, along with other faculty members as well. Evaluators is huge as well at Norco College, Riverside Community College District. Our evaluators are the ones evaluating military coursework and equating it to college coursework. So it's huge that our evaluators are also part of the team. Instructional faculty, this is one of the main players on this. Without instructional faculty and getting them approved for military course EQs, none of this would be possible. So having faculty support, getting a hold of anybody in any particular type of leadership faculty positions at our institution, informing them about military CPL, is huge. Curriculum chair, administration, financial aid, and anybody else who you see will fit for the succession of this program here. Next.
So when it comes down, like what Eric was saying, faculty focus and faculty support is really essential for the success of any type of articulation and CPL, whether it's military CPL or whatever it is, experience and work experience. Really, the idea of having faculty focus and my perspective always was find my champions, find at the college the team of faculty that understand the importance of providing our military students with the credit that they deserve. This is definitely clearly a 10+1 opportunity. So getting your Senate, your local Senate on board and understanding the importance of this work, getting them on board and their support is essential. The idea of understanding that your faculty are your experts and that if they see articulations courses do not articulate, that we respect their decisions. So in our 101 session, one of the key things that MAP does is it records not only what courses are articulated, but what don't. And one of the comments in the Padlet that I really liked was what are new future steps is engaging more academic disciplines, because the idea now that CSUs are going to be accepting these articulations is enormous, because one of our biggest roadblocks was faculty saying, yeah, I'd love to be able to articulate this, but I don't want to cause a problem to the student who's going to go to now a CSU and say, well, no, you have to take this all over again because the articulation isn't valid. So this idea of the change in policy at the CSUs is enormous for our work to be able to recruit more disciplines. So I love that comment, because I'm like, that's exactly where we're going to be going as well. So that partnering with the different disciplines, your counselor, your AO, our veteran resource center, the veteran specialist, so that we can understand which occupations are coming more frequently and where are the possibilities for these greater articulations. Next slide. So it really is important to build relationships. And at Norco, I think one of the key reasons why we've had success in the military articulation platform and all of our military CPL is the relationships and the willingness of people to take a Friday of every week of a summer to meet and discuss these important things, and talk openly and frankly and say, hey, Eric, what am I doing wrong? And how can we aid? And it's a teamwork, and it's respect that we have for each other. It's love that we have for each other. I have to admit that the team is a team that I look forward to working with. So the idea of respect, love, and trust. I know that if Eric is coming to me and saying, look, I've had this many students coming in, is there any way we can look at these possible articulations? It's definitely a direction that I will trust and go in, and this kind of a thing. And dialogue. It is key to be able to have with my articulation officer, who will say, Peggy, you're articulating this, but I don't know if you realize it's affecting downstream something else that as a faculty member, I have no idea. So the idea of what is TESS and what is this, I didn't know any of this as a faculty member who's in my little niche of dissecting cats in my anatomy class, until I got a chance to dialogue with Weston and see, oh, we can do this on a Google map. Wow, that my head just gets the little purple cloud and I get goosebumps of the idea of serving my veteran students. And I think that is bottom line who we do this for. So I'll leave it at that. Go ahead and go forward.
So from JST to transcript. So the way that we do this at our institution is basically once students' transcripts have been evaluated by our evaluations department, and everything has been approved by faculty, administrations, counselors, etc. Our IT team was able to find a way to transcript military coursework into our military transcript. For more information on that, you can always shoot me an email or contact one of us, and we will gladly give you information on how our IT team was able to do that. It was huge. I know it took a while for them to do that, but they were able to transcript our military coursework into our regular college transcripts. Knowing your routine for AP, tech prep, foreign transcripts, etc., is huge as well. Because when assisting veterans, it's important that you know AP, CLEP, foreign transcripts, policies to ensure that any of the students are not taking courses that are already completed in the past. Is your roadmap clear, illustrated for your students and counselors? That's huge. This takes a lot of work. It's a lot of teamwork. Like Dr. Pei Campos said earlier, it takes, administration, faculty, counselors, etc., to ensure that we're all on the same page. We're all subject experts in different fields. So I would highly recommend for each and every one of you to seek out those experts in your institution and get together, and dialogue about how you guys can better improve your CPL at your current institution. Where is this posted? That's a good question, Terrence. Do you know where it's posted?
Well, that's part of Title V is you need to have your policy and the process posted. So those schools have changed their BPs and ARs. Part of Title V is that it needs to be accessible to all students, not just military veterans, but what is the CPL process? Who do you go to? How is it processed? It needs to be out there to the public. I want to reiterate something that Eric stated because, I've been a veterans counselor by trade for years, and, done administration, done other things, but that's my trade as a veterans counselor. And oftentimes veterans counselors don't ask about AP or tech prep, right? You ask about your JST. And what you have to understand is this is just like any other human being from a high school. So they just have a few more years experience. They have these amazing new trained skills. Many have grown up. They're men and women now instead of being kids coming from a high school, right? But they come with a whole ball of wax of other items, CLEP, AP. They might be able to test to use a standardized exam to test out. So there's all these other CPLs that you don't want to neglect because you're focusing just on MilCPL. Next slide, please. And Dr. Campo hit on something too about 10+1. Many of you might be staff and you don't know what that is. AB 1725 basically told the community colleges, this is back in the early 90s, you must have a shared governance process. And there's certain things that are in the faculty purview that are the responsibility of faculty. And curriculum and that content in the classroom is owned by the faculty. The faculty members are the content experts. So we got to rely on them. A couple of these things about sharing success. I like this little kid. He reminds me of my youngest. But share your successes. The next MilCPL next year, we actually want to hear what your students are doing. What credit have you given to your students? Do you have a student you want to highlight since you've learned this content? You go back and you work with your auto program and create all of these articulations. And in the spring, you have a success story from a diesel mechanic that was an LAR guy out at Pendleton that came over to your institution and now has 15 units of credit. We want to hear those stories. So you have our contacts. When we send out the information for the next summit, please send in your success stories. Your VRC webpage. Throw some videos up of your guys and gals that have gotten some credit with the faculty member that's working with them. What we want to see in the field is celebration of our hard work with students. We, especially in the Zoom era of the pandemic, sometimes we don't get out and celebrate what we've done. You kind of get in the grind and you get in the work and you love what you do, but we don't celebrate and put a bright light on it. And all of what you do back on your campus, I'm sure, should be celebrated. The last one I want to hit on here is TESS. I've shared a few of those links. MAP is the glue between ACE recommendations in your curriculum. MAP is that system that makes it, that's the easy button for articulations. What TESS is an area where counselors use on College Source to see articulations from any out-of-state or private institution. You counselors are probably shaking your heads right now that you live in College Source sometimes. Throwing those ACE articulations into TESS and making it open source, making it open to the public facing, just helps all of us. If you look at Norco's right now, they have 3 pages of articulations in their tests, and you can bring those back to your faculty and say, hey, so-and-so in management, they've already articulated this at Riverside and Norco. Would you consider doing this as well? It gives you a little bit of clout when you share it on tests, but it helps the other institutions out with tackling military CPL. Weston?
Okay, well, this is just a big thank you. We can also revisit, I know we still have 5 minutes, so what I would actually like to do before letting you go is to revisit the some of the comments, and then see if we can't answer some questions or at least comment on some of the ideas that you've shared with us. So we can take a moment and read through. If anyone wants to speak out on any of those comments, that would be fantastic.
Address on work overcoming faculty wariness and resistance. Wine, alcohol helps quite a lot. The truth is faculty are always weary. I say it affectionately that we think that we possess our curriculum and we're very protective of it. But in reality, what we are is we're protective of teaching our students, right? And we want to make sure that they are achieving an education worthy of a Norco College degree. So I really go towards faculty weariness and resistance of all right, listening and dialoguing, hopefully getting over drunk, right, over wine. But the dialogue is here is why are you weary? Are you fearful that the scope? Are you fearful that the rigor? Are you fearful that what ACE is recommending isn't genuine? Here, let's go. Let's look. I had resistance from our language faculty. We had translators, people that were translating languages and weren't getting Spanish 101 as articulated. And I said, look, why don't you go to the institution, to the military, and go see what they're doing? My faculty came back so impressed that they started articulating and trying to see how they could do that. So my idea, CM, always has been faculty weariness and resistance. I understand it. I don't put a barrier and say, why are you resistant? You shouldn't be. No, I understand it. And I want to listen. And I want to say, where is the resistance and how can we work this together? That's my advice.
Yeah, also too, I would want to say something about that, Dr. Peggy. What we did at Norco College as well is you can always have the ACE come to your institution and present to your faculty on what they do. They do a really, really good job on that. I'm sure some of these our colleagues here have attended their ACE presentations, but yes, you can always have ACE come to your institution and talk to your faculty of how they go about evaluating coursework.
As well as encouraging your faculty to be ACE evaluators. I can't stress that enough. When you get them out there, as Peggy said, and they see what's going on, they get paid to do that. I want to hit on one of the notes about the military articulation platform. One of the tools in our Swiss Army knife of MilCPL, MAP is wonderful. And, those that have emailed me during the session and sent private chats, wait till the end of the training and you can find out some great new initiatives to scale MAP up to other institutions. But it's worth your time waiting till 12 to stay out for this whole training. Any other items we want to touch before we jump into the general session?
Not on my end.
Okay, I saw in the chat the idea from John about using strong workforce. Yes, 100%. How do you go about contacting ACE? Their website. They have a website, and I shared a link earlier in another session on how to become an ACE faculty reviewer. The one I just shared here is on the JST, explaining a JST, some basic content for 101. But you can go to their website and contact them directly. They're pretty responsive.
At the end of the slides of the first presentation of 101, we have the links of how to sign up as to be a faculty member, a link to this joint service transcript interpretation, a link to the military guide. So within those last slides of the 101, you have the links.
Awesome. Dr. Campo's on it as usual. I was an intercession. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna jump on back to the general session and close out the training for the day.